Hi everyone, welcome to our Recitation 11. For this recitation, we would like to do some practice on spreadsheets functions. And we have provided you the example or the initial files for this Recitation 11. You can download it within our folder on the canvas. The folder name is Recitation Information. First, click this one, and then find the folder name with your TA, which is Weizhi Wang. Click this folder, and you can see the file, which is called example2, and you can click this one and click download. And when download is finished, you can just double click to open this file. So now you can see this template or the initial spreadsheet for our Recitation 11. So the first task will be done on the flower shop sales worksheet. So it's a worksheet 1, and we have 4 worksheets. And the first task is to just change this part and your name. My name is Weizhi Wang. Okay. So the second job is to insert formula for today's date. And if right here, you need to use the today function. So it should be equal today. And with a pair of brackets. And just press tab. Okay, so you can see today is 11. Today is 2020 September 18th. Okay, so this is first task. So second task is to compute the sales tax, gross income, net income, and need to recorder. So this is our task 2. Okay. So first, our decision condition is whether the buckets in stock is smaller than 20. So we need to use the if function, which is equal to if. And you can see the help for the if function. The first parameter is logical test. So it should be D5 smaller than 20. And we have the value if true, which means that if D5 is smaller than 20, and we need to make it yes. And if this condition is false, and we make the value equal to no, and we press tab, you can see right here it's yes. And we can use the autofill for the other items. So this is the usage of if function. For if function, we have 3 parameters. First is the logical test, or can be called the condition for the if. And for this column, the decision condition is whether buckets in stock is smaller than 20. And if true, the value is yes. If not, the value is no. So this is the use of if function. Okay, next we compute the gross income, which is very simple. It should be number in bucket times price per bucket. So it should be B5 times C5, right? Okay, and this one is rate times gross income. So it should be H5 times sales tax rate is located within T1. And we need to use the absolute reference, right? Because if we use autofill, this cell will be fixed because the sales tax rate for each item should be the same. Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry, it should be T5, sorry. T5 times Q1. And the net income should be equal to gross minus sales tax. So it should be equal to T5 minus H5, right? Okay, so we also use the autofill. So now we have seen something we don't want to see here, which for the sales tax, we have used the 4 decimal places, and we want to use the rounding function to round the sales tax to 2 decimal places. So right now, for this one, we need to use the round function. And we can see for the round function, we have 2 parameters. First is the number, and the second is the number of digits. So first is 5 times the tax rate, and the number of digits equal to 2, and press tab. So you can see when we use the round function, the sales tax has been rounded to 2 decimal places, and we also use the autofill. Okay, so this is sales tax. And we can also use the round function on the net income. So if you a round and is 2, okay. And we can change the format of this cell equal into currents, and the decimal places is also 2. So, oh, I'm sorry, it should be dollar. Currents and the symbol is dollar. And decimal places is also 2. Okay, so this is our task for computing gross income, sales tax, net income. And we can also change the gross income and sales tax also into the currency format. And we can just change the format for sales tax rate into percentage, okay? We make it decimal places equal to 1, okay? So this is format setting for different cells. Our next task is to compute the column totals, and we need to use the sum function, I think we have already talked about the usage of sum function within last recitation, and it should be equal to sum, and the area is from B5 to B14. Okay, and for this two, it's also the same. We can also use the column totals to compute the price per bauxite and the total for bauxite in stock. Okay, so now we will have some different tasks. For the column for need to recorder, and what the total right here should be equal to the count of recorder, which equal to yes. So within the E16 cell, what we want to do is to count how many yes is within this column. So how to do this? We need to use the count if function. So it should be countif. Okay, so you can see the introduction to countif function. So it is used for counting the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So it is countif, and first we need to set the range, and second is the criteria. And the range is from E5 to E14, right? And the criteria is yes. Sorry. And the criteria should be yes, which means that if the cell value equal to yes, we can add 1 to our result. So right here we can see the countif returns 4, and we can count by ourselves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So this is the usage of countif. Okay, so our next task is to just use the count_a and count_t functions. So I will introduce the difference between these three functions. So for example, if we want to just compute the number of items with values, which means that we can use the count_a function. And the introduction to count_a function is counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. So I can introduce this. If we also select the area, which is B5 to B14, and we can see the number is 10, which means that right here we count each cell. If the cell is not empty, we will add 1 to our result. For example, if we make B10 equal to 0, make it empty, and we can see, and if we have changed the range from B14 to B15, which means that we have included the cell of B15, and the B15 is empty, and we can see the result is also 10, but right here we have 11 cells. So count_a is used for count the number of cells which are not empty. So this is usage of count_a. Okay. So for the second function, if we want to compute number of items with numbers only, so we need to use the count. So the count function is used for count the number of cells in the range that contain numbers. Okay. So the range is also the same, and we make it B5 to B15 to B14, and right now we have 10 cells with all of the 10 cells are containing numbers. And if we just change the B14 to A6, and we can see the count_a function, the count function will just return 9, because right here B14 contains both the text and numbers. So this is the usage of count function. Okay, we change it back. And the next, if we want to just compute the number of items with text only, and we need to use the count_t function. And the count_t function is used for counting the number of cells within the range that meets the given condition. And the range is B5 to B14. And the criteria is just a star. If the criteria is just a star, which means that we only want to decide whether this cell contains text only. The star symbol means any text. Okay, and we click this one, and we can see it returns nothing. So if we change B14 to A, and we can see right here it has been changed to 1. Okay, and we can also use the autofill. So this is the usage of count_a function, count function, and the count_t function. Okay, let's do a quick summary. So count_a function is used for count number of items with values, and the count function is used for counting number of items with numbers only. And we can use count_a function to compute number of items with text only. Okay, now we can go to the next task is to compute median, maximum, and minimum. I think you should know the difference between median and average, right? I will not talk about too much about difference between median and average. And if you don't know this part, you can go to Google to get the answer of the difference between median and average. So to compute median, we can use the median function, and the range is from B5 to B14, and we can also use the autofill. And if we want to compute the max, we can use max function. And if we compute the minimum, we can use min function. I think we have talked about these two functions during last recitation, right? Okay, so this is the task for computing median, maximum, and minimum. It's pretty easy. Now we may face with a problem. So we can see for this worksheet, it's clear that the width is much more bigger than the height. So we want to just change the orientation for this worksheet. So how to do this? So we can click page layout, and within this tab, you can see a button which is called orientation. So if we click this one, we can change page orientation. So right now the page orientation is portrait, and now we can change it to landscape. Okay, so this is the change of page orientation. Okay, so let's come to part 2 of our recitation. And right here, what we need to use is the worksheet called gradebook and grades and loans. Okay, so for this task, I think everyone of you should be very familiar. What we want to do is to give a student the grade, the letter grade, given the points the student got. And the standard is right here. You can see if the student is larger, get the points which is larger than 90, he or she will got an A. If the points is within the range of 80 to 90, he or she will got a B. And then if the range is from 65 to 80 and the letter grade is C, I think every one of you should be very familiar, right? So how to do this task? So we need to introduce a new function which is called VLOOKUP. Okay, I can give you an example. If you use the VLOOKUP function, the introduction has said that it is used for look for a value in the leftmost column of the table, and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. It's much more complicated. I can use an example to explain. So first is the lookup value, and the next parameter is table area, and the next is the index number, and after that, the last parameter is range lookup. Okay, so it's clear that our first parameter should be B2, right? So the lookup value is B2, which is 90. And the next parameter is table area. So the table area is within the grids, and the table is from A4, this one, right, to B8, right? So it is, so I think you should know how to cite some table area from another worksheet. So first you should give the worksheet name and with an exclamation and then with the range. So it should be from the worksheet called grades. Sorry, it should be grades. and with an exclamation, and the range is from A4 to A8. And I think the index for lookup is 2, which means that, sorry, uh, let me write once again. B2 grades A4 to B8, and the color index number is 2, which means that we want to put the values in the second column of the table array into this cell. Okay, and the next is true. We use the approximate match. We don't need to use the exact match. Okay. Now we can see this grade has changed to A, and if we use autofill, and something will be incorrect. It is because we don't use the absolute reference. So we add absolute reference. Okay, all of you once again. And everything is correct right now. And once we have already done the test for given the letter grade, given the points the student get, and we can also give the comment given the letter grade the student has got. So we also use the VLOOKUP function, and the lookup value is C2, right? And its grades. It should be from A12 to B17, and we can just change the formula here. And the column index number is also 2, and we use approximate match. Okay. Sorry. A12 to B14. Oh, sorry. There is A13. Okay, we also need to use the absolute reference. Okay, so student has got a letter grade of A, and the command is distinction, and we use autofill. And if the student has got a C, the command is pass. Okay, and now we want to just compute the average, median, high risk, and low risk. And you should be very familiar, right? So this is average. And we can also use the run function, right? Oh, sorry. And the median is median, max, mean. Okay, so this is a computation for average, median, high risk, and low risk for the point. Okay, so if we want to compute the number of passing, we can use the COUNTIF, which we have already introduced. So use COUNTIF, and the range is from B2 to B12, and the criteria is larger than 60, right? Okay, so it is 9, and for this one, it is smaller than 20, and the number is 2. And if you want to compute number of A's, you need to also use the COUNTIF. COUNTIF. and it's A. Oh, sorry. For the range is the range should be C2 to C12, and we count the number of A's. And for B, it is equal to count if range is from C2 to C12, and it should be B, right? 2B. And number of C's, it should be count if C2 to C12 and C. It should be 3C, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And this one should be the number of D's. Count if C2, C12, D. So it only has one D. Okay. Okay, our next task is to use the conditional formatting. So what we want to do here is to make the grades from 0 to 64, and the background color should be red. And if the point is from 65 to 8, and the background color should be yellow. And if the point is greater than 80, and the background color should be green. So first we need to select the area is from B2 to B12 and click Home tab, and within Home tab you can see conditional formatting, and the first button is highlight cells rules, and we can just select the first one is we can select between, and if it is between 0 to 64 and the color is red. Okay, and we set the second rules between, and if it is from 65 to 80, and we make it uh, yellow, and if it is greater than 80, and we make it to green. Okay, so we have already set the conditional formatting. And now we want to do the sorting part. We want to just change the order. We want this area to be sorted using the standard of points. We want to use the descending order of the points. So how to do this? Okay, we can select the area which is from A2 to D12. And now we can select sort and filter. And we can click custom sort. And we can click sort by grade and sort on values, and order is, so we want to make it, points values. We want make it to descending, so it should be largest to smallest. We click OK. So you can see current is put in the first place, and current has got the best performance. The points is 96, which is the maximum. Okay, so this is the sorting. Okay, let's come to the part 2 of this recitation, and part 3. The part 3 will be down on the worksheet, which is called loans. Okay, so you need to click the worksheet tab and click loans to change to this worksheet. And our first task is to use the VLOOKUP function to get the annual percentage rate APR. So it should be VLOOKUP, and VLOOKUP value is F9, so it is years, and the table area is from B4 to E6. You need to also use absolute reference, and the value is 2. Okay. So right here you can see the APR for the year 25. It is $6.75%. Okay, we can use all of you. So we have used the VLOOKUP function to get the APR for each year. And now we want to compute the monthly payment, but the problem is, so APR is called annual interest rate, and what we want to compute is monthly payment. So we need to use APR dividing by the number of payments per year, which is 12. So the monthly payment rate will be T9 over B4 B5, and B5 should be absolute reference because it will not be changed. Okay, so this is first the monthly percentage rate, and now we need to use the number of periods to multiply by B5. Oh, sorry. Monthly payment. Okay, so G9 over 12 is just the monthly payment rate. And now, if we want to just compute the monthly payment, and we need to use the PMT function. And PMT function is used for calculating the payment for loan based on constant payments and a constant interest rate. Okay, so we can see our first parameter is rate, and we have already computed the rate, which is T9 over B5. Okay, the next parameter should be number of payments, and I believe the number of payments should be F9 times, oh sorry, I think we need to first compute the monthly insurance. Yeah, the monthly payment should be equal to PMT, and the first parameter is rate, which is B9 over B5. And next is number of payments, and it should be F9 times B5. Right. And next one is PV, and PV should be located in D9, right? So PV means amount financed. Okay, so we have already given the necessary parameters for PMT function, and we press 10. Okay, so you can see the monthly payment is right here. We can also use all of you. And monthly insurance. So the monthly insurance is known as PMI, and it is calculated as loan amount times monthly insurance rate. So where is monthly insurance rate? It's located, I think it can be achieved by B6 over B5. It should be insurance rate over number of payments per year. So if we want to calculate monthly insurance, it should be equal to loan amount. So it should be D9 times the monthly insurance rate. So it should be B6, and B6 should be absolute reference. So it is B6 over number of payments per year. So it is 5. Okay, so this is the computation for monthly insurance. So it should be amount financed times the monthly insurance rate. And the monthly insurance rate can be computed from insurance rate over number of payments per year. Okay, so we also use all of you. Okay, for this end for this recitation, and I have just one extra question, which is worth of 1 extra point. So the question is like this. Okay, we all know the problem between converting monthly rate to we have already know how to convert the yearly payment rate to monthly payment rate. It is like if the year payment rate is so the APR is 6%. For example, it is APR, and we have 12 months per year, right? And the monthly payment rate should be equal to 6% over 12, right? So this is a computation for monthly payment rate. So now I have just a question. So if the daily payment rate is 0.0002 and we have 365 days per year. So what is the APR? I think the question is really easy. You actually just you can just use the basic multiplication. Okay, so you need to tell me if the daily payment rate is 0.00002. I think it is. I think it is 0.002%, and if the days for per year is 365 days, and what is the APR? You need to just give me the extra question answer for this, okay? And for this recitation attendance, I think I don't need to just set the question. If you have already submit the form, and I can just record the attendance for this recitation for you. Okay. Bye, everyone.